welcome to another educational video about screen printing by Catspit Productions. Please remember that Catspit Productions sells screen printing equipment and supplies, so if you need any help with that, please feel free to contact us and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Alright, today's video is about printing a one-color halftone with spot colors. Now, you remember in the previous video we went over how to create the artwork. So in this video what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some tips and advice on how to burn the screens, how to make the screens, and working with the film positives with your exposure unit and your emulsion and washing out in the washout booth. And then at the very end of the video we will set up and do a couple of quick test prints. Okay, so if you remember the last video, we went over how to basically set up a one-color halftone with some spot colors, okay? So, if you don't know how to create the artwork that we're talking about here, please go back to my uploads and look at the previous video that I uploaded to this one and take a look at how we create the artwork, because that's going to help you out a lot. Today, we're going to burn two screens, remember? We're going to burn one, which is a positive, a complete full positive to print black ink on white t-shirts. This is a 45 line per inch halftone at a 15-degree angle. The second screen we're going to burn is the negative. This is for printing white ink on black t-shirts. This is also a 45 line per inch halftone at a 15-degree angle. Okay, and you probably can't see that too well. What I'll do is I'll try to give you guys a close-up of these two film positives with a white background maybe and see if you can get a little quick look at them. Here are the two film positives. They're 11 by 17 film positives, and what I did here is I used white 11 by 17 paper and I just placed the film positives on top of the white paper so that you could see the film positive. So on the left is the positive of Ben Franklin and on the right is the negative of Ben Franklin. So the left film positive we would use for black ink on white t-shirts, and the right film positive we would use for white ink on black t-shirts. Okay, I'll say that again. The film positive on the left is a positive of Ben Franklin, and we would print that in black ink on white t-shirts or light colored t-shirts, any light colored garment you could use, not just white. And then on the right we have the negative Ben Franklin, which we would print in white ink on black t-shirts or white ink on darker t-shirts. Could be brown or a maroon, anything that's really dark that you want to print white ink on, you would use the negative film positive on the right. Alright, so today I have the two film positives ready, and in the previous video I told you that we set this up, a 45 line per inch, 15-degree angle, and we're going to run it on 200 mesh, okay? But you know, I was looking in my screens and I only have one 200 mesh available right now. The rest of them are on jobs and I can't, you know, go through the trouble of reclaiming them just for this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the white ink printer, the negative Ben Franklin job, okay? The negative one we're going to put on the 200 mesh, and then the positive one I'm going to run on a 230. Okay, but you know, that's not a big deal. The only big deal about it is that, you know, a higher mesh count is harder to push the ink through. But since we're going to use black ink on that one, I'll go ahead and put the black ink printer, the positive printer, on the 230 mesh so that we're only pushing black ink through that. Then the white ink printer, the negative printer, I'm going to put on the 200 mesh count, okay? And ideally, if I had all 200 mesh, I would have just put both of these on 200 mesh, because the 45 line at a 15-degree angle will burn fine on a 200 mesh, and probably you could even maybe burn it on a 160. So, you know, there's a range in there that you can try to burn them on, you know, but I like to do my one-color halftones. Normally I do them at a 195 or 200, which is basically the same thing. So a 200 mesh count will work good, but remember, when you want a little bit more of an ink flow, it's possible that you could drop down to maybe a 160 or something like that. And you know, sometimes you just have to experiment and see if it'll work right, if it looks good. That's really the bottom line. Does it look good? The first thing that you're going to want to do with halftones regardless of whether or not you think your glass is clean, is you're going to want to clean the glass. This is very important because if there's any dust or debris of any kind, it's going to ruin the halftone pattern and possibly cause a visible defect in the halftone print. Okay? So, we got to get everything going here. Now, I can't really advise you a lot on the exposure times because it's going to vary from exposure unit, your light source, your emulsion, your film positive. There's, the relative humidity, temperature, and all these things in your shop are going to affect your exposure time. But I can tell you today that I'm using a photopolymer emulsion, which is very fast, and we're going to use, like I said, we're going to use a 200 mesh for the white printer and a 230 mesh for the black printer. So here's the 230. Okay, I got a 230 mesh. And we're going to tape this on here. Check and make sure I have the right film positive. Okay. It's also important to note that multiple bulb exposure units are not going to be as good as a point source exposure unit when you're doing halftones. So if at all possible, if you have availability or access to a point source exposure unit, you would probably want to use that. However, you can burn halftones on a multiple bulb exposure unit. Much to the contrary of what many people will tell you, it is very possible to produce high quality halftones on a multiple bulb exposure unit. You just have to, get your exposure right. All right, so let's do it. Okay, so now we're ready to wash the screen out. So here it is. Remember, you're only going to use cold water or tap water, if that makes tap water, okay? Cold water, you're going to use a garden hose, don't use your pressure washer, and because this is on a higher mesh count, it's going to wash out a little bit quicker than a screen that is on like a 110 screen, you know what I'm saying, that holds more emulsion. Wet down both sides. Okay, and here we go. There's our latent image. I don't know if you can see it because of the exposure here. But I'll give you a close-up shot of the screen. Don't worry. Who loves you, baby? Okay. So, there's a couple of things you're gonna need to work fast. Okay, let's see if we can kind of show you this here. Get my elbow out of the way, and now I'm away from the mic, but oh, hold on, there it is. Okay, we got our halftone screen. All right, a couple of tips. Work really fast. Make sure you have a backlight because the backlight's going to help you see the halftone come out. As soon as the halftone dots come out and they look clear, stop. If you keep going, you risk washing off dots. And believe me, they're very easy to wash off. Okay, so work quickly. Once you see they're clear, as soon as they're clear, stop doing your washout and get it out of the water. Okay, that's why a backlit washout booth is very important because it's going to help you see when the halftone is fully developed. Okay, so we have one more to do. This is the 200 mesh, and there's a little tear in the mesh on the side, so I have a piece of special duct tape. It's holding it together, but it's okay for this little job. Okay. So, we're going to burn this one. Okay, so here's the negative printer, the white ink printer for black t-shirts. We have it on a 200 mesh, and we're gonna wash this one out. So, remember, very fast, very quick. Alright, that's it for today. Remember, if you like what you see, please rate, thumbs up, comment below, and subscribe. That's very important because you don't want to miss out on any of the future screen printing videos from Catspit Productions. And in fact, the next video I'm going to do will be tips and advice on how to print a one-color halftone on white t-shirts with black ink. And I'll give you tips and advice on how to print a halftone on your manual rotary screen printing press. Okay, it's a little bit different printing halftones manually as opposed to automatic printing. So we're going to talk about that in the next video and give you all the tips and advice on how to make your one-color halftone print the best it can be. Okay, so please make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. And remember, Catspit Productions is an authorized Raynor dealer. We sell screen printing equipment and supplies to help support the continued production of screen printing videos right here on YouTube. So, if you need any screen printing equipment or supplies, please make sure to give me a call and let me have an opportunity to help you out. I appreciate that. All right, thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time.